and welcome to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, on RVN TV, where we talk to the power connectors of the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. I have the pleasure and the privilege to talk to Dr. Laura Sicola of Vocal Impact Productions, and I'm so glad because you're actually a VIP here. You've been on 6 other shows, correct? So you're kind of a pro. Should I even bother talking? Should I just
I do your thing. I want to listen to you.
No, I'm good. It'll be great. So tell me, so for those of you who don't know Dr. Laura, she is the founder of Vocal Impact Productions, and you classify yourself as a linguist, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. By training, sure.
By training. But what you really do is help with people, and the reason why I'm having trouble saying this is because there's so much human behavior aspect to it.
Sure.
So before I botch this, I would love for you to tell people who you are, what you do, and why you're awesome. And then we're going to talk about
That's on my business card. I'm awesome because.
Yes, that's right. You should make it work. But yeah, please tell people more about that because you're in my head, pretty spectacular. But I want everybody else to know why.
Oh, you are very sweet.
Oh, thank you.
I think the easiest answer is one word.
Okay.
Influence.
Ooh, okay. Tell me about that.
People get frustrated because they feel stuck in some capacity, personal, professional. I typically work with people on the professional realm, but where you feel like you're not having enough influence to get the results that you want.
Okay.
And that is in great part, there's lots of factors, right? Budget issues and all sorts of other things. That notwithstanding, one of the main reasons why people aren't effective in getting the results that they want is because of the way that they communicate. They're in their own way and they don't even know where they're putting their foot in their mouth, or they're just not showing up. They think they're projecting one thing, they think they're communicating one message, but they don't realize that what they're actually communicating and what the other person is hearing is something that's got a big hole in the middle of it, or they're sending them in a completely different direction. So my job is to help you realize where there's that gap between how you want to come across when you speak, how you think you come across when you speak, and how you actually come across. And when you realize where that gap is, and you realize where you've been sabotaging yourself with every phone call, with every presentation, with every meeting you attend, where you're missing the mark, you can go, oh my gosh.
Oh, duh. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I never realized that I was doing that. No wonder I'm not getting the promotion. No wonder I'm not landing the big clients. No wonder they won't let me lead the project. No wonder. So when we figure out where that gap is, then my job is to help you figure out the strategies and the skill set you need to close the gap. And it's amazing the transformation that you can make when you finally are willing to have that little taste of humble pie to realize this is what I'm doing to myself. I want to get out of my own way and I want to make a change happen.
So do you think the majority of that is self-awareness? Do you think that people, that you coach them to have enough self-awareness to identify the needs and the reasons why they have to close the gap?
If people are coming to me, they know there's a problem.
Got it.
Right. They feel like they may not know what the problem is. They can't put their finger on it, but ultimately, one of the biggest challenges that most people have is not knowing what they're doing that's wrong. They don't know why they're coming across a certain way. Or it could be that it's a matter of confidence. That's one of the biggest challenges that I hear from clients. I'm not confident when I have to present to a larger audience, or I don't feel confident when I have to manage up, right? You have to present to the big bosses. So how do you find that confidence and be able to project a certain level of authority that really lets the other person know, I have what you need, I can give you what you want, why you're coming to me for this service, for this product. So people know that they are having a problem and they don't know how to solve it. So that's what they want me to point out for them.
Got it. And so when somebody calls you, they're having one of those issues. It's a confidence thing, trying to get a promotion at work, just trying to fill the gap, like you said. Can you give an example of something that you've worked with somebody, and this could be obviously anonymous, but just an idea of how you've brought somebody who had this particular challenge and then how you were able to see the progress moving forward?
Sure. So there's somebody I've been working with rather recently where internally there was a little bit of an imposter syndrome, which is that feeling of being where you sort of know that you have the skill set to be where you are, but you're afraid that somebody else is going to look at you and say, you don't belong here. That they're going to expose you as a fraud.
Right.
And so that can eat away at your psyche.
Entrepreneurs think that all the time, especially in the first 2 years. I'm sorry, because the fact that you said imposter syndrome, you're the only other person that I've heard say that. So yes, I know what that feels like, and I know other people that know what that feels like. So yes, continue.
It's a huge challenge. I'm glad you're validating everything. And you know what? Also, I'll give you another buzzword to match that buzzword, but a big challenge is that when people don't feel that confidence inside, they're afraid of that exposure, then they're holding back because inside they're thinking, oh, I'm not sure, what if, that what if just eats away. And when your brain is thinking what if, your body language, your posture, your voice might sort of hold back and fry out, and you don't realize that you're not really speaking loudly, and you have this croaky, gravelly thing. Or there's all sorts of other maybe upspeak you're using because you're not totally sure, so you're afraid that maybe you're not right, so you're implying okay, But you'd be amazed how many people do it. Men, women, older, younger. It's not a millennial female valley girl. Oh no.
Really?
No,
okay.
no. 60-year-old white men in executive positions in Armani suits.
No kidding.
Oh yes. I did a training, so a detour from the first story,
Yeah.
did a training for one of the largest national technology companies out there. I worked with their national sales leadership team, about 60, 65 people. You figure if they're the national sales leads, then they're all, mostly, upper 30s through 60s, 75% men, mostly white, and all highly educated, highly successful, which is why they were at this training.
Right.
And we did this part, and I came up to the piece where we're talking about voice, and I mentioned the upspeak. And one guy in the back, I'm going to guess he was in his early to mid 50s, probably fit that demographic I just described. He sort of raised his hand and he said, can you give me an example of when a guy would do this? Because I just can't see it happening.
Yeah.
And I said, no. But hold off, and in an hour, if you don't have an answer for your own question, ask me again.
Yeah.
And so we did, and we went through this training, and I had them video record themselves, doing a whole bunch of different things. They'd partner off, and it's like, all right, here's my phone, you record me, I'll do my spiel, then I'll record you on yours, and then I'll teach them how to analyze their video for themselves.
Ooh, that's a great practice.
When we were debriefing at the end, we're going through it, and to his very gracious credit, he had the intelligence to have the humility to be able to say,
that's me.
I gotta confess, I heard a lot more up than I thought was inherently necessary. And I went, okay, there you go. So it is not a gender thing, it is not an age thing. There are certain groups that'll do it more as like a social bonding thing, and that will tend to be more the much younger kids, women in particular, when it's done almost deliberately, but everybody else slides into it at different times, like when they're in mental list mode, as I call it, or some other context. And it's funny how they'll suddenly jump in and then jump out of it and not even realize they do it.
Oh my gosh. So some people, and this may be completely off, but there's some people will say like, hey, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Jersey. Well, you don't have an accent. I'm like, well, when I get very, very
I get the same
angry,
thing. It comes back.
It comes back, and I get very Italian. Like I get very, authentic and like, this is what's going to happen. You know, very much like that. But
and this holds coffee.
In those modes. Coffee. Yeah, coffee and water.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Yay. But to your point, the in and out, it's interesting. This could be a self-conscious thing, but I don't watch a lot of the interviews that I do because if I have a good experience, I don't want to nitpick at things. However, the benefit of watching them is to not only get better, but to see that the body language, the kind of questions. It's an education piece. I used to be an actor a while ago.
Oh, very cool.
So I enjoyed like the human behavior aspect, identifying different personalities, things like that. But I always had a problem watching myself because the feeling I get during the interview is always so great and so warm and so comfortable that I don't want to taint it by looking at myself being stupid on camera. So it's one of those things. How do you shift that mindset to figure out how to get over that?
Broccoli.
Shut up, really?
I refer to it as my broccoli lesson.
Really?
I do. So, if you have kids, or if you ever were a kid, mom makes you eat your broccoli little by little. You don't want it. You want ice cream. You want cookies. But in the end, they force you to eat the vegetables, and you grow up big and strong. You may even develop a taste for it, and you realize that it was in your own best interest. Learning to watch yourself on camera is learning to eat your broccoli, because until
tacos, we can't use this metaphor for tacos.
We could, and I have a toddler at home, and I have learned that riced vegetables, like the minced broccoli and cauliflower that you can buy in the freezer section, you mix it in with the taco meat, and they can't tell the difference.
How do I mix my tacos and my broccoli while watching myself? Do I just drink a glass of wine and be like, I was great?
You can do that.
Awesome.
When it comes to watching that video, you do brace yourself. Nobody necessarily likes it. I tell my clients that they are allowed to assume the position when they watch themselves on video, which is this.
Yeah.
as allowed. You can have a glass of wine, bring popcorn if it makes you happy, but
Okay.
just accept that you don't expect to see a Hollywood cinematic performance.
Right,
Your
right.
goal is to say, knowing what my intention was, where did I communicate in a way that reinforced the impression I want to make? Where did I speak in a way that made my intentions clear, my message clear, my goals clear? And where did I somehow distract from that ultimate desired outcome? What did I do? What did I say? What did I do with my body? What did I do with my voice? All these elements, what either reinforced or sabotaged that ultimate impression that I was trying to make. And the best thing you can do is identify clear as day what you did wrong. Because until you can start to see what you did wrong, and the video camera is the only way that you can objectively see that. I can tell you, but you won't believe what I tell you, for better or for worse.
Yes,
I could tell you that you did much better than you think, and you go, oh no, I
No,
didn't.
negative, no.
But if I can tell, if you watch yourself, then we can talk as we're comparing apples to apples.
Right.
And if you can see, wow, when I did this, it made me sound really abrasive. Or this made me I got lost listening to my own explanation. It was so convoluted. Or there was no story, I needed a story here.
Right.
Once you start to do those things, then that's great, because now you know what to change. And this is where you go, huge leap forward.
All right, I'll eat my broccoli. When we return, we're gonna make Dr. Laura eat her broccoli, just kidding. We're going to talk to her more about her tactical tips and practical takeaways on networking, especially using human behavior and how to actually listen and identify the right kind of cadence and to watch yourself on video in order to do better things. So when we return, make sure you stay tuned. Thanks so much.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
And welcome back to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, on RVN TV at 12:30 on Thursdays. I have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Laura Sicola of Vocal Impact Productions. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so with all of your words of wisdom and your education piece to this, what do you think when you go into a networking event, what do you think people do the most that they don't realize that they're doing? And that's incorrect.
A lot of things,
Tell
as
me
a matter
everything.
of fact.
Let's talk about it.
So one is that there's two different kinds of people, right? There's people who love networking events and think it's fun, and there are those who dread it.
Yeah.
And those who dread it telegraph it like there's a gigantic yellow flashing arrow pointing at their head that says, I hate this, don't want to be here, don't want to talk to you, feel totally uncomfortable in my own skin, can I please get a drink at the bar and run away and play with my iPhone?
Yeah.
Right. So then just knowing that if that's what you're really thinking when you are walking in the room, then that's what everybody else is realizing as well. This is what you're projecting through your stories, which you probably don't tell, through your voice, which you're probably not using in a very successful way, and through your body language, which says, I don't really want to be here. So the things to start with is, number one, realize that you're there. Why are you there? You're there in theory, at least, because you want to make new connections, prospecting, etc. But people start relationships with and that they want to maintain with people who they feel connected to, people who they like. So when you walk in and you start right away thinking something like, well, but I'm an accountant, and that's just boring. Like people aren't going to be interested in talking about accounting. But that's the whole point. Like I would agree with that in that I don't think accounting is interesting, which is why I'm not an accountant. But that's also why I love my accountant, because he just loves to tell me about some new idea he came up with, and because of this new tax code and this change, and
He's passionate.
He's passionate about it. And who do you want to hire to do your taxes but somebody who is that excited to do something that for you'd rather have a root canal than do.
Right.
So if you project, I love what I do, then that makes me want to know more about you.
Right.
That makes me find you interesting. Even if I don't think your job is interesting, that doesn't mean I don't need your job just because I don't think that role is interesting. I need you.
Yeah.
So help me make that connection. Let your geek flag fly, or
flow?
yes, all that, whatever it is, whatever you love. Let people know that first and foremost, because if you're happy about what you do, that's a great launch.
Do you think, so I talked about this in a previous interview, but I'm a big advocate is like nobody gives a damn about what you do. It's how you make them feel, right?
Yes, correct.
It's a common thing that people say.
Right.
But no one is listening to your pitch. They are buying from you. They are engaging with you. They are providing you, or you're providing them with help on some capacity. So if people aren't going to work with sucky people, meaning they're just not going to do it.
I'm going to put that on the back of my business
Please
card.
do.
People don't work with sucky people.
You are a sucky
You should
person,
coin
sir.
that, by the way.
I should get it. Yeah, I should. But I find that to be it's so elementary at the end of the day, because sometimes we forget when we go into networking events or even just talking to somebody new, is that you're still trying to make a friend. And by friend, I mean at the very, just be friendly. What does that look like? What does that mean to you? How does that person come across that actually engages you in the like-mindedness that you may or may not have?
Right.
So if the pressure is taken off, you're able to actually have a conversation.
Right.
And to your point, being able to have passion about what you do, you can wear that all over everybody's face.
Yep.
It's also like the BS meter that you have with salespeople as well.
Right.
That come up and just kind of spit their 30-second pitch.
Right.
Where do you think people could really, how could people prep for something like that? If they're going into an event and all they know is that they have to sell their product, how would you suggest they prep for the conversations that they're going to have to be the most effective?
One is being able to not just have like a 30-second elevator pitch, but get the essence of what you do, of the value you provide, directly or indirectly, down into kind of a one sentence or a one question prompt that gets people thinking in the right direction. So, for example, my question to people might be, tell me, where's one place where you're not having the influence you need to get the results you want?
Fancy.
And that tells me, now I get you talking, but it's you talking about your world in the context of my world. And that way I can learn more about you, which is really what I want to do. And I'm not talking about myself, but you're starting to think, where would I really like to have more influence? Oh, I like the idea of more influence. And I'm going to talk, and the more I talk about myself, the more I like her, because she seems to be a good listener. And it just goes in that general direction. I met a guy who, of all things, you want to talk about jobs that don't sound sexy and glamorous?
Yes.
He sold recycling bins.
Okay.
Right, trash containers, recycling bins. And his line was, I have the best job in the world because I get to talk trash all day.
I love him.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Like you just said, I want to hang out with the guy who sells trash cans.
I know, isn't that weird?
Did you ever think those words would come out of your mouth?
No, but to your point, it's catchy, it's interesting. He's put thought into it, and you can tell that he actually gives a damn about what he does.
And it's clever, it just makes you enjoy that person. And if nothing else, just figuring out a couple of entries that you can use to strike up conversations. Look for the person in the room who looks as uncomfortable as you feel, because they're dying for somebody to come up and start the conversation because they don't know how.
Talk to the wallflower.
Yeah, why not? And if nothing else, there's some really easy openers that you can use with people, especially with women. If you are a woman talking to a woman, when in doubt, compliment her shoes,
or their
accessories, purse, whatever it is.
Perfect.
I've walked up to people around the side, just a quick little touch on the elbow to get their attention. By the way, just wanted to tell you, love your shoes.
Your shoes are amazing.
And done. And they suddenly go, oh, well, thank you, because you know that they think those shoes are amazing, which is why they're wearing them in the first place. Exactly. And they're so glad that you understand it, recognize it, appreciate it. You now have a common bond. Eventually, you'll get to what you do, but the nice part is once they have gotten to that nice response, all you have to say is, by the way, and that's the transition, by the way, I'm Laura.
Nice to meet you, Laura. Pleasure.
Because we're already in the conversation. It's like, oh, where are my manners? Silly me, I'm Laura. And then you can keep talking about shoes or go into what you do or talk about the buffet or whatever you want.
No,
but
for
the
men.
by the way.
I love the by the way. I like that a lot. Yes, but that is something that has worked. That does work. I use that all the time, and it's genuine. You're coming across as a genuine person, not just finding the one thing. They're like, meh. You're being genuine about the questions that you're asking.
Right.
For men, what would you say you would compliment on them?
There's a couple of things.
Pocket square?
Depending on accessories certainly are there. Guys are really into their flashy socks now. You'll see somebody in a super conservative gray suit, and they're screaming neon pink socks or something. He wore those for a reason. Or a bow tie, something kind of snazzy. Sure, accessories are always safe. Now, you may not say to them in the same way, love that bow tie. They may read it a little bit differently, but like, dude, cool bow tie, props. You got more guts than I have, or something along those lines.
I do the beard. I'm like, bro, beard on point. My husband has the same beard. What oils do you use? They love.
Oils could be interesting.
Depending. Well, if it's a very long, exquisite, trimmed, beautiful beard. Oh my gosh.
But that's
we can
good
hang
to
out
know.
in my circles.
But if nothing else, there's some easier ways, men like to talk about their toys. So tech. See somebody who's wearing the new AirPods, the little wireless earbuds. Maybe just stop and say, excuse me for interrupting, but I see you've got the AirPods. Do you like them? I've been debating.
Brilliant.
Because men are always willing to give opinions about toys. It's totally safe. It's not personal. It's just, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So that's easy. And when in doubt, there's food. You're standing next to somebody at the buffet. They've got something on their plate, and you can ask, excuse me, do you know what's in that? Did you try it yet? How is it? Is there gluten or whatever you feel like talking about? And when in doubt, look at what's on the beer label or in the drink. Something that's pink and frilly or a fizzy, whatever it is.
Frugal, fubbles.
But there's funky names on beer labels like, okay, Fat Bastard Ale. Haven't had one of those before. Any good? You recommend it. Talk to people about what they're drinking. It's certainly easy enough.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. But those in the by the ways, I love that. The
by the way is always the transition.
Great. I'm definitely going to use that even more often. But the compliments of the dress, I love the toys to focus on that. Also watches. A lot of men do wear a lot of accessory watches. And my husband also does that as well. So it's nice to be like, my husband likes that. And that way you can kind of not
the
put
Apple
this,
Watch or the, whatever the non-Apple equivalent of it is, right?
Right, awesome. So you have, first of all, if anybody doesn't know Dr. Laura Sicola, she has 5.5 million views on a TEDx. I forgot to even bring that up. So she did a TEDx, and you have a book coming out.
I do.
Can we talk about the book?
I would love to talk about the book.
Tell me what's going on.
The book is called Speaking to Influence, Mastering Your Leadership Voice. And the idea is that for anybody who may not have the opportunity to do some one-on-one coaching with me or bring me into your company to do a team training or a series, this is for you to take into your home, into your car, because there's going to be both the paper version, the ebook version, and the audiobook version, all available, launching on April 16th. But to take all of my coaching, all of my tips, all of the insights, and apply it for yourself, because every chapter has exercises and homework assignments for you to do to really identify your own blind spot and figure out where it's keeping you from getting to that end goal and getting the results that you want.
So why did you decide to write the book?
Exactly what I just said, because not everybody can work with me one-on-one. There's only one of me, and there's a lot more of everybody else. So if there's not the opportunity, or for whatever reason you just want to start small, maybe do it yourself before you take the leap into one-on-one coaching, give it a try. This will, if you even just read it, it will provide you with so many insights, all the palm to forehead moments of, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. So great, now you've got 1,000 things to think about on your own. But also if you take that next step and you do the exercises at the end or the little activities, the listening exercises, because there's a resources page on the website where you'll be able to download all sorts of extra little sound files and little worksheets and things. If you take that extra step, you have no idea what you will uncover as far as the magnitude of the changes that you can make in a very short period of time. Because the beauty of what I teach is how tiny changes make massive differences. And when you switch those, people may not be able to put their finger on what you're doing differently, but they'll notice something's different.
It's a little bit of a change. So
more than a little bit.
yeah, meaning like they can
Yeah.
see the difference in the,
Oh, yeah.
and you just carry yourself differently, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Absolutely.
So can you talk about the promotion or not yet?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, talk about the promotion.
Absolutely. So there's a
I'm
terrific
taking advantage.
So there's a terrific pre-launch opportunity between now and April 16th, which is the launch of the book itself. And at that time, between now and then, if you go to speakingtoinfluence.com, there are different promotions where if you just pre-order one copy, you'll get the paper back, but you'll also get the ebook and the audio book for free as bonuses. And then if you order multiple copies, for example, if you order a 10-copy pack, then you will also get the ebook and the audio book. But in addition to that, you'll get a copy of my Discovering Your Leadership Voice audio program, a copy of my 4-part webinar series, which is Unleashing Your Leadership Voice, and you'll get access for free to a full-day workshop that I'll be hosting in early June in Center City, Philadelphia, something that would normally cost hundreds upon hundreds of dollars for that access, you'll get in for free. And it's not just me talking at you for that amount of time, it is a workshop. You're gonna come, roll those sleeves up, get ready to walk out and say, wow, I never realized what I was doing, and now I know what I need to do and how to do it to get those results that I want.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm taking advantage. Who wants to come with me? All my girlfriends are getting a copy of her book. How can people find you?
You can certainly start at the book website, which is speakingtoinfluence.com, but you can also just meet me on my website, which is vocalimpactproductions.com.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Laura, thank you so much for being
Thank you,
here today.
Ashley.
I'm so glad we had a chance to talk to you about this. These are the best tactical tips I've gotten. Please don't tell any of my other guests, but I'm very, very, very happy that you're here today. So thank you everybody for watching. Please stay tuned next week on Connect to Success, where again, we talk to power networkers in the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area, and you'll see tactical tips next week as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good day.